Dustin, good morning to you.
Mr. Singleton,
How are you, kind sir?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. I am good. You could call me IronE or E or.
Okay.
A lot of people call me TDog around the world.
Yeah.
Whatever you like.
Well, it's great to be talking to you today, and I kind of want to start off and kind of get your sense as to what got you involved in acting or what led you down that path.
I think it was something. It was mutual. It was acting chose me as well as, and I chose it. It seems as though it was like divine destiny, and I think that God knew that it was God's plan to give me a large platform to interject into the world this theme and this notion of truth and love. And what better way to do that than by acting, meaning you have so many people, not just in the country, but throughout the world, and they get to see you on the big screen or even the little screen. And, it makes that plight much more effective.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned being known as T-Dog around the world. Obviously, people have seen you on the little screen as of late with The Walking Dead. Can you tell us, the listeners, a bit about how you landed that role?
Wow. I got a call from my agent one day back in the summer of 2010, and he asked me if I was interested in being a part of doing a horror television show called The Walking Dead. And I was like, not really, because I have been traumatized as a kid, Dustin. I had watched every scary movie you can think of, from Halloween to Nightmare on Elm Street to Friday the 13th. Of course, those were the three, and Chucky, and even Night of the Living Dead,
sure,
the original one, by Romero. So I had no interest, and I was traumatized as a kid because my mom would take us to the movie theater, and I was 4 and 5 years old, and I had no interest in watching that stuff. My brother would actually go to the movie theater and fall asleep because he wanted no part of it. I would go and cover my eyes and remove my eyes when nobody was getting slashed or whatever, I guess. So I was like, no, not really. I'm not interested in auditioning for it. And he told me that Frank Darabont, who's a living legend, and he's directed things like Shawshank Redemption. I know you guys have heard of that probably,
sure.
And The Mist, and so many other big projects. And along with Gail Ann Hurd, who's the producer of the Aliens and the Punisher, Armageddon, I think, and the list goes on and on. So I got instantly excited then to work with such living legends, such as they are, and I auditioned for it. And just days, maybe a week or so later, I got the call saying that I was cast in it. Never went in for it. Never went into L.A. for a screening or anything. I got the job from Atlanta. So how amazing is that, and how good is God for something like that?
Yeah, definitely. And I know the character of T-Dog wasn't really in the original comics. So did you base that character off of something in your personal life, or?
Yeah, every acting 101. My first acting class was at the University of Georgia, and I was taught there that whenever you start building a character, whenever you start your character work, you start with what's true to you. Your life experiences. And it's the same thing as a writer. My playwriting teacher taught me, write about what you know about. And it's the same thing as an actor. So I use my life experiences, and I go as far back as I can. This is with every character. Go back as far back as I can with that character, and I bring that character as far up to my current situation as I can. And that's how I find my characters, and that's where I found T-Dog. I found T-Dog back in the inner city of Atlanta in the projects, and having gone through so many things there, and ending up playing Division I football at the University of Georgia. And he was not a theater major, though, like I was, and speech communications major, but he was more so like a business major. So I didn't want him to be too dramatic. See, as a theater major, he would He would have been too dramatic. So I said,
Sure.
no, I got to tone T-Dog down a bit. And from there, he graduated from college, and he landed a job, a blue-collar / white-collar job. He could have easily been working as a bank teller at the bank somewhere, or even doing bag work, transporting bags at the airport, which was one of my jobs, by the way. So that's how I kind of saw T-Dog.
So as far as being on the set and filming the show, was it kind of a grueling experience? Because it seems like you guys are really out there. It's very realistic, I guess.
It was. It was a very grueling experience, starting from day one on that rooftop with Rick, the characters I'm naming, and Merle and Glenn and Jackie and Andrea and Morales. And who else was on that rooftop? But that fight scene it set the tone for the entire production, and it told me what we were in for. A lot of dirt, blood, guts, and gore. So it was a very tough job, but enriching. We grew a lot from it, and I had lots of fun doing that. It was tough. It was tough though. Tough work.
Well, and obviously you mentioned, just getting a call from the agent. Hey, do you want to do this horror thing? Nah, not really. But obviously you made the right call. I mean, that show has become such a phenomenon. Did you ever think that it would be where it is now, even, when you were filming it? Could you kind of sense that?
Not at all. Not at all. I just, I was thinking, and I think that my fellow castmates would be at agreement on it, that we said, when we first started, I think that, we were like, it's another job, another paycheck. I'm glad to be working, and because a lot of actors are not working in the industry, so just felt good to have a job. And then as we shot more and more of episode 2 of season 1, I started talking to our camera guy, Mike, who is actually the DP now on the show, and I'm so proud of him, and I think he's also directed the show. So Mike Strazemus, and he and I just kind of looked at each other. We nodded our head around the same time, and he said, I think we've got something here. Like, yeah, this could be all right. And my thinking was, okay, we might get, 3-4 million viewers. We may be able to match Mad Men, the numbers they were getting for Mad Men, AMC that is. We could match what, they're getting for Breaking Bad. So we were like, that would be a success to get maybe 3 or 4 million viewers per episode. That's the thought. And when we came out the gate at 6 million viewers, do you understand, Dustin, that nobody saw that coming?
Sure.
6 million? And now we're at 20 million viewers. Unbelievable. And it's a worldwide sensation, phenomenon, incredible. So this is it's bigger than what I ever imagined, Dustin.
And I assume that led you to the title of the new book you have, Blindsided by the Walking Dead. Is that an autobiography, or what can we expect from that?
Yes, sir, it is. It's my autobiography, and I chose my 2 most popular projects, and they are The Blind Side, the one that won Sandra Bullock an Oscar award for her brilliant performance as Leanne Tui, and The Walking Dead, which is the biggest show in basic cable television history. So I put those 2 together because I figured that it would strike a chord with people, and they'd be interested. It details my life story, though. Some people think that they'll probably get a whole bunch of me talking about The Blind Side and The Walking Dead and my times on those projects, which they will, but they'll get a lot of me talking about my life story growing up destitute. Again, like I said, I grew up in the projects of Atlanta, and having, lost my mom at the age of 18 from HIV complications, and even before that, she had a really, really tough life, and she was addicted to alcohol, and she was addicted to crack. And died my senior year in high school. And my father, having limited interaction with him, I saw him 2 times in my entire life. And my brother, who was arrested for the first time when he was 14 years old, because he lived that life and he ran the streets, and I lived that life as well, but just not the way he did. And I grew up in a home with pimps and literally pimps and hustlers and gangsters, and I was the youngest, so I basically emulated what I saw and became a product of that environment. So I ran the streets and I carried a pistol and I sold drugs, and I overcame those things through God's grace and ended up at Georgia where I played football. And I studied theater, and I was also a speech communications major, so I double majored. And when I got through all of that, and I'd find myself at times looking at myself in the mirror asking, how did I get through that? And I would conclude that it was because of God's mercy and because of me listening and obeying and listening at the right time, when in those very crucial moments, to where when my friends decided to go do something they shouldn't have been doing, and they invited me along with them, but I chose not to, and they ended up going there and getting slaughtered, getting their brains blown out, and getting shot, some senseless violence. And I was like, there were so many times where I could have gone left. I could have said, yeah, all right, I'll go, but I didn't go because something inside of me told me, not to go. Don't do that. You know better than that. And I listened to that voice inside of me. And that voice could have come from many different places, Dustin. It could have come from, my grandmother at times saying, you better do the right thing, or my uncle saying, hey, stay out of trouble, or something like that. And it came back to me, and I listened to it and didn't do it, and ended up where I am now. So I discuss all that stuff in the book, and it seemed to me like it would be an injustice to not just God, but just humanity at large, for me not to tell this story, because I know that it could serve as a great dose of medicine for a lot of people going through that situation. This book, it offers hope. It offers, when they need it most, when people need it most, they're like, man, I can get through what I'm going through, because that's what we go through as humans. We as human beings, nobody's immune to the trials and tribulations of life. So I wanted to inject, this notion of hope and forgiveness and love and triumph into this story, and I did that. And people love the book. It's been well received.
Yeah, definitely a great story, and it's great how things turned out. And again, IronE, thanks so much for being on with me today.
Hey, thank you. And please instruct your listeners to go to my website and my Twitter page and Facebook, which is IronE Singleton. They can get all the information they want on the book, my one-man show, and everything else.
Absolutely. Thanks again, and looking forward to seeing you on your next projects.
All right. Thanks, Brother Dustin. I wish you all the best.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Care.
Bye-bye.
All right.